She got ghosted for being able to afford her daughter's Disney World trip without his assistance. I was dating a guy and he ghosted me because I could afford a trip for my daughter and I to go to Disney World. He was like, that's like 5,000 K. I was like, yep. He never called me again.
Have you heard about this worldwide craze going on? It is just like ridiculous. It's absolutely blowing up. So women have discovered that they don't need men anymore, and there is something replacing men. It's not AI, it's not robots. And even if you want a partner or you want a baby, this is literally the answer. We don't need men anymore.
She said whenever she got money or had a job, the men in her life didn't like it. I'm convinced every time I got my own money, they would low-key sabotage me having that job or try to talk me out of an opportunity or just hate.
I have never been one of those women to be like, oh, I don't need a man. But as of late, I have been feeling that way. I recently got a lease violation for my flower bed, and instead of like waiting for somebody to come do it for me, I did it myself. And I'm not gonna lie, to some people it may feel very minute, but for me it was like a really big deal. And I start to see like where people get that mindset from of like not needing a man, because after you start handling things on your own for a while, it's like, I don't need one. I just want one.
I think they are jealous of the freedom of an independent woman and the ability to maneuver through life while he's locked in his own personal hell. I noticed men like these are insecure and lack identity. They need a relationship with God to teach them what true masculinity is. My grandparents and parents grew up in the generations where men controlled everyone and everything because he brought in the income. They talked to us about how toxic and abusive some of the relationships were because the uneducated woman was stuck in a relationship with kids. My elders didn't want that for us.
Women don't need men anymore. Burn. So they don't choose the way they used to. They don't care about your money anymore. They generally make more than you anyway. Burn. They don't really care about your status. Often high status just means you're a bit of a prick. Burn. They don't even really care about your looks. Many women prefer dad bods to abs. Burn. It's now about, do you feel safe to be around? Not boring safe, not passive safe, but regulated, grounded, and solid. Because if she has her own life, her own money, and her own independence, the only reason she stays is how you make her feel.
The current guy, low-key, I think hates or despises my independence. He always trying to undermine certain things I do, but I brush it off. Then he tried to mirror me to get reactions. Narcissist, but I know how to deal with him.
The hardest thing I had to learn to stop being an incel was that women don't need men anymore is a good thing. But as a man, that made me feel useless and unwanted. And I overperformed and overachieved just to feel needed. And every time I went into a relationship, I'd find someone who needed me, helped them, dated for a while, and then they replaced me with someone that they wanted. Nowadays, women can get jobs, they can have bank accounts, and they don't need us. But that means that the women that are in a relationship, they've chosen the person they want. I'm now in a relationship where my girlfriend is a higher earner than me, and she's in a full-time job, and she goes to college. She is incredible. And she bought me these awesome shark slippers.
What exactly are the guilty men saying about this? Are they accepting these accusations with arms open, or are they reacting? Of course, we know how they operate. They are reacting. Let's see what they have to say about an independent woman. It's what they mean by independent, and most times it's masculine. They think it means to be sassy and stubborn, and if not their way, then he is this name and that name and never ever take accountability. I'm independent is a code for I don't want to care about another person and I only really care about myself. I bet on resenting any obligation to the relationship as controlling. I love independent women. I hate girls who declare they are independent women. Women from the US want everything to be handed to them and want to do nothing for all that, may it be emotionally, mentally, or financially. They are just lazy and are infecting this virus to other women. My personal experience has been that independent women are just incapable of empathy and self-regulating, and just use this label to silence people's normal expectations of them. BITCHA is not independent. Men are not afraid of BITCHA, just not tolerating it anymore. Bring more to the table than a bad attitude. I'm glad I don't need date independent women. Also, they are not suitable partner for me, as I don't have time to waste with an independent woman. Sorry, I don't like independent women, so I am good on my own. Women call it being independent and men call it just being an adult. Women want a reward for being an adult, while men just have to be an adult because they are men.
So I've been thinking, I did this video last week and it was called Why Women Don't Need Men Anymore. And I got so much of a response, especially from guys out there. And there was a whole bunch of stuff around like, you know, you're a simp, you're a mangina, you don't know what you're talking about. And, you know, okay, we can just go away and we can leave all the women to it and they can survive without modern technology and internet and Wi-Fi. You know, most of them forgetting the fact that, you know, women were involved in the invention of most of those things. But of course, I want to be really clear about it. It's not this case of like men aren't needed at all in any role in society. Those are jobs. Those are jobs. And I was talking about relationships, you know, and it is the case that women don't need men in the way that they used to. They, for one thing, they're financially independent. They're educated. They're better at education than most men are, for crying out loud. And this is just evolution, guys. It's not a factor anymore. It's a factor now, guys, of they get to choose. And throughout the whole of the animal kingdom, the men, the males, compete for the females. That is the way of evolution. That is the way it goes. And when women get the choice, they're going to choose men who are more understanding, who are willing to learn, who are willing to grow, who are willing to see them as beautiful, incredible, biological, gorgeous beings, rather than crazy, irrational women. You can learn this, you can grow with it, or you can get left behind.
Some women did react to the conversation of whether they need a man or want a man. This is what some women are saying in the comment section. It's not about needing, it's about companionship. Would you rather be wanted than needed? We do. We need each other, but we both need to be pouring into each other. I don't need a husband, but I'm with mine because I love him. There is nothing he can do for me that I can't do for myself. He is a great company. He is a fantastic father, and we enjoy being together. This is just a small example of the chaos going on online about women not needing men anymore and how men are reacting to that statement. There is a quiet tension in modern relationships. This tension is felt in conversations, in dating culture, and also in ways people talk about love now. Something obviously has shifted and not everyone is comfortable about it.
So today I was asked why I'm single, and the answer is very simple. Okay. I am single by choice because if I wanted to be in a relationship, I could just make one phone call and that can change. But these days, these men have no self-control, no self-discipline. They have no courtship. They have no communication. And I'm not saying every man, I'm not saying that. But the men who seem to want to talk to me just think that they could just be in my inbox and just boom, that's just what it is. No, that's not what it is for me. Okay. I still believe in flowers. I still believe in dates. I still believe in gifts. I still believe in partnership. And that's just not out there in my opinion. Okay. This is my opinion. And for me, I'd rather just stay single. I don't got time. Like every time I open up a social media app, the same person who is in my DMs are like on other females' posts and shit. And it's kind of hilarious. It doesn't make me mad because I honestly don't care, but it just proves a point to me that there's no self-discipline or, I mean, everybody's just for everybody. And I'm just not. So that's the answer.
80% of single women aren't even interested in dating a guy anymore. Do you know why? Because men are not men anymore. Now, by that, I'm not saying that men are all hyper-feminized. What I'm saying is, even the masculine ones, the alpha males, can't even sort out a date properly. They don't even know the sidewalk rule. They don't even know how to pick up a girl, open doors for her. The usual basic stuff, like pulling out a chair. grabbing her coat in the restaurant and taking it off. They think that that's cringe. They think that splitting the bill on a date makes them a masculine man. These ladies just want a guy that's going to say, hey, I want to meet you tomorrow at 8 o'clock because I'm really interested in you and getting to know you. It doesn't matter about the bill or the whereabouts of the restaurant. I'm not thinking that you're trying to use me for a free meal or anything like that, you know? They just want a guy that's just going to say, I'm interested in you, let's go, date tomorrow night, I want to get to know you. They ask questions. Believe it or not, guys, ladies know that you're not interested because you're not asking any questions about her. I'm going to take care of everything. Okay, girls are crying out for a guy to just literally get her in her feminine energy, and you don't not necessarily need to be an alpha male that's built like a brick shithouse. You can be the most feminine, flamboyant guy but still have masculine qualities, and girls will probably even like that even more. Okay, they just want a guy, a man that's going to say, hey, rise to the occasion, man, because girls are just sick of it and they would rather just be the masculine in their own life. They can take care of themselves these days, you know. If she's inviting you into her life and she's saying, hey, I'm sick of doing this all on my own, would you like to be that man for me? You better rise up and be that man, or else fuck off. Ladies, tell me I'm lying.
A great number of men are frustrated. It shows up in their tone, in how they talk about women, the kind of conversation they have about women, in them withdrawing, in their criticism. And at the center of it all is one realization: women don't need men anymore the way they used to. This is not about women rejecting men. It's more about women no longer being dependent on men. And that difference is very practical. It's very obvious in our society.
Today is officially closing day. I bought a house. Got the keys, y'all. Very cutesy. At least 7 people can fit in the shower. It's so cute. It's a little lemon squeezer situation.
You can't convince me that the solo trips that you go on don't change your life. Solo travel has taken me to almost 30 countries, and these are the 3 destinations that I think every solo female traveler should experience at least once, especially if you're nervous about traveling alone. Let's start with Slovenia. I just spent 10 days here, and if you're new to solo travel, this is honestly the perfect place to start. It's in Europe, so it's easy to get to. Plus, the entire country is tiny. Everywhere is less than a 2-hour drive from the main airport in Ljubljana, and the bus system is affordable and runs everywhere, so you don't even need to rent a car. It's also way more affordable and less crowded than places like Italy, France, or Switzerland, but you still get incredible cities, stunning mountains, and a beautiful Mediterranean coastline, all in one country. Next is Vietnam, and this one's for anyone who wants adventure without breaking the bank. Because it's one of the most affordable countries for US travelers, the solo travel singles tax basically doesn't exist. There's also a huge backpacking culture here, which means you're constantly meeting other solo travelers at hostels, on tours, and during meals. I met people from all over the world, and we ended up doing the Ha Giang Loop together, which was truly the coolest thing I've ever done. And finally, there's Guatemala, which was my very first solo trip ever and might still be my favorite on this list. During my week-long trip, I hiked up Acatenango to spend the night watching an active volcano erupt, explore the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Antigua, and relax by Lake Atitlan, aka the Lake Como of Central America. Guatemala has an incredible solo travel community, and it's only a 5-hour direct flight from most of the US. It's also really easy to get around because there are shared shuttles between all the main stops, so you're never figuring out complicated bus systems alone. I will also add, all 3 destinations were actually recommended to me by other solo female travelers who had been there, felt safe, and told me I had to go. And they were so right. Save this video for your solo travel bucket list, and let me know in the comments which one you'd visit first.
Excuse me, ma'am. Is this your car?
Yes, this is my car.
How did you get rich?
I'm a shoe designer.
Tell me about that.
My brand's called Jessica Rich.
So I'm actually part of Hard Knocks Women. I would actually love to just chat with you for 60 seconds about your business. Is that okay?
For sure, let's do it.
What's the most amount of money you've made in a single year?
5 million.
Why did you choose shoe designing?
Honestly, I started in jewelry at first, and I decided to pivot into shoes because at that time there was no affordable luxury shoe.
Did you have connections when you were starting out?
I built my brand solely on influencers, celebrities, and just people who could move the needle. Fast forward, came to LA, networked my butt off, and I just met everyone I could possibly meet.
What do a lot of people romanticize about building a clothing brand that is actually really brutal for you?
Oh my God, Jess, you have a great brand. It's so worldwide. Like, people know you. I'm like, yeah, but people also don't know me. I have to put so much more work in to really become one of these huge household names at Valentino or something like that. So the work hours, the constant knows you here, the consistency that you have to tell yourself every day that your stuff is cool. I think it's easier to build a brand versus maintain it, to be honest.
Have you failed?
Definitely have failed. Oh my God, I think I lost $1 million last year. And what that came to was just basically not having enough stock in stock. And
and me not realizing until it's too late.
Do you believe that women should dress the part that they want to be?
I agree with the fake it till you make it. First impressions are everything. Take the extra 10 minutes and just put yourself together because you never know who you're going to meet.
What's the biggest tip you can give to someone right now who's starting a fashion brand in 2026 and wants to hit that $1 million mark?
I would say utilize Instagram. I built my brand off of Instagram. If you build the right product and you give it to the right people and they love the founders, at first I was nervous to tell people that I was actually African American because I felt like I wouldn't consider it as a luxury brand. Use your presence, use your voice, let them know that's your brand and why you stand for it and why you made it, because your voice is going to get you further than anyone else is going to ever promote you.
When someone doesn't need you, the entire relationship dynamics changes. It moves from necessity to choice, and choice is a lot more demanding. In today's world, many women can provide for themselves financially. They can build their own lives, make their own decision, create their own stability. That independence means they are no longer staying in situations because they have to. They stay because they want to. And that is where the discomfort for men begins. For men, being needed creates security. Being chosen creates pressure. Let's have a look at some women that are in relationships with 100% provider men. They need those men for financial security.
I am financially dependent on my husband. He is the breadwinner, and for a long time I was at home working on my business, but I was primarily looking after the kids. So give me your thoughts on that, and what do we need to have in place as women to protect ourselves?
The key is that you have enough money to leave the relationship if need be, okay? And that is your FU money. Every woman needs FU money. And that is money to be able to leave if you want, to be able to get an apartment, to be able to get a car, pay for your phone, all of that. As long as you have that, I think that you're in an okay situation. Now, in addition to that, you need to be an active participant in the finances of your marriage. So you have to know what accounts you have, how much money you have, how much money you don't have, because a lot of women think that they're richer than they are because the man handles everything. And I had a friend who got totally screwed that way. You have to have access to every single asset and every single bank account. If you have that, I think that's okay. And I think that's fine.
I just seen a video of a lady stating what a provider man is. And she said, if you got a provider man, in some cases you are still buying groceries, paying utilities, paying daycare. I don't know where she got her wires twisted at, but if you have a provider man that's providing 100%, he is not making you pay for groceries, making you pay for childcare fees and none of that. I have a provider man that provides 100%. That means I don't put no gas in my car. I don't buy my own clothes. I don't buy my own food. I don't do anything financially in this household. Now, it was some people that's saying if she's paying anything, they say that's going 50-50. But she thinks that a provider man, the way that she was talking, the women are still doing things financially. No, that's not a provider man. Like them provider men in the comments got and said, she said it, they said that's 50-50. Even the men said it. And they had one man that said, no, my wife doesn't do anything. She just take care of the house. So we need to understand that provider men that provide, they provide 100%. They're not asking for or looking for nothing. But I'm the type of person that I don't mind, being a sugar mama here or there. I'll give my husband something because I know I have means of getting money and know how to get money. But I do not pay no bills. He's not looking for bits and pieces from me every 30 days when the bills are due. He don't look for nothing from me. Now, I will surprise him and give him, a little something here or there because I'm not a selfish person, but I have a provider man.
When a man is needed, his role is clear. There is structure, there is expectation, there is a built-in sense of value for that man. But when a woman does not need a man, that automatic value disappears. That value now has to be created, felt, and maintained. That clear shift forces a question that not every man can answer. The question is, what do I bring that makes someone want to stay? For some men, this question is motivating. It pushes for growth. It encourages emotional awareness, consistency, and deeper connection. Men like this adapt. They understand that relationships now require more than provision. they also require presence. But for other types of men, this question would feel like pressure to them. It would feel like the rules have changed without prior notice. Many men grew up with clear script. Be responsible, work hard, provide. In return, you will be respected, valued, and chosen. That script worked in a different kind of relationship structure, the type that is built on dependency. Now that structure is gone, or at least weakened. And what is replacing that structure is not always clearly defined. It all depends on the people in the relationship. Instead of automatic rules, there is negotiation. Instead of obligation, there is choice. Instead of assumption, there is evaluation. And evaluation can feel uncomfortable to a lot of men.
Men always complain that women are constantly nagging. Maybe she's not nagging, and it's just that you keep doing the same.
So first and foremost, we always say that women who criticize their men, their criticisms are their greatest complaints about what's happening with your relationship. So if that's what the nagging is, yes, I agree. You should listen to it. You should try to find a way to make changes because she's trying to tell you how to save the relationship. However, as I watched that video, all I could think about is, as a man, why should I have to change everything about who I am as a man or as a person? My character traits, the things that I enjoy, the way that I have lived my life, my entire life, to simply comply to the things that a woman wants, to prevent her from nagging because she is unhappy with the way that I have chose to live my life. Because at one point she overlooked those things. She was okay with it. She allowed the video games to happen or the going out drinking or whatever happened because there was no standard set in the relationship at the beginning. And now all of a sudden there's a problem. So the nagging starts. Most men want to make their woman happy, so they'll make a small incremental change to try to combat the criticisms and the nagging and the things that are happening in that relationship. And then the next thing gets brought up and is nagging, and he conforms and starts making incremental changes to become the man that she needs him to be or wants him to be. 6, 7 months, 2 years, 3 years down the road, this man realizes that he is no longer the man he was. He is now a shell of the person he was. His hobbies are gone. The things that he enjoys doing is gone. The way that he lives his life is gone. He now folds towels away that he never thought he would fold towels. He gets bitched at if the dishes aren't put in the dishwasher a certain way. There's no gratitude. There's no thank you for the things that are being done that have been asked. Hey, babe, I would appreciate it if you did blah, blah, blah. And then he does blah, blah, blah. And then she gets super shitty with him over it because it wasn't done to her standard or her way. This doesn't sound like a happy marriage. This doesn't really even sound like marriage. It sounds like servitude. Men are supposed to serve. We want to serve our women. Most of the time, that's what we do. We are a paycheck. We provide. And a lot of times we get bitched at for not doing it the way that they want us to do it. If the criticisms that you're getting are things like, we are not able to communicate, we need to learn how to resolve conflict differently than what we're doing.
Most men do want a traditional woman. Like, I'm not going to even lie to you. Like, most men do want a woman that's just going to stay at home, cook, clean, take care of the kids. And he goes out there, makes the money, come back. And, they're just happy. You feel me? Like, most men don't really want their girl working. I mean, if you're a real man, you wouldn't want your wife working, you know what I'm saying? But they don't want their women to have their own business or their own assets or their own, shit going for themselves. The man rather just take care of everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's no disrespect to women that's trying to make a name for themselves, make money for themselves and things like that. I'm not saying you can't do that. You can't have a side business, but most men would rather the real man would just rather take care of all the bills and, invest in the stocks. A lot of y'all be like, well, it's a partnership. I say I let the man.
It amazes me with the amount of men who don't contribute to cleaning while in a relationship. Doing laundry and dishes and taking out the trash and sweeping and mopping and taking care of the kids, that's a whole job within itself. And to have the expectation to have your woman do everything alone every single day, that's a lot on her mental. And now, before a lot of you guys get on to me and say, well, I work too. Matter of fact, I work 84 hours a week. That's 7 12s with no days off, and I still come home and contribute to our household. Part of the reason why is because it's my house too, and I live there as well, and I contribute to the mess. But more importantly, it is not solely my wife's responsibility to take care of all that by herself. And by doing that, it frees up so much mental space and so much mental energy for her to be able to focus on other things that she needs to prioritize. And one of the things that I like for her to prioritize on a daily basis is me time, because she needs that as well. I get it. Nobody wants to do laundry. Nobody wants to wash dishes. Nobody wants to clean up the kids' toys every single day, but these are things that need to be done. And it's not hard to take initiative to see a sink full of dishes and take care of it, to see the trash full and take care of it without having to be told to do it. And to you, it may not feel like a big deal right now, but eventually it will be.
I'm sick of decay at this point now, like, seriously.
The game really be that serious that you got your daughter drinking out the whole bottle. Like that game that serious.
Get back on it. And I'm getting bored like that. Just keep it right there.
No, dude.
What you mean?
The game that serious that you couldn't get up.
I'm sure this isn't the first time that he has prioritized this video game over something important. Like now you're showing that he's showing that's even more important than the child. He can't even be bothered, even while you're pointing out to him an issue. He can't even stop playing long enough or pause the game and listen to what you have to say. This man isn't mature enough for the responsibility that it takes to be a parent. Anybody could be a daddy. It takes a strong man to be a father. He doesn't want to put away childish things and do what grown men do. What I'm getting ready to say might be controversial, but I mean this and I'm saying it with my entire chest. A man that can't step up and show you that he could be a responsible father does not deserve to be made a father again. He would be one and done. Don't be having 2, 3, and 4 kids with the man that showed you on the first kid that he couldn't step up and be responsible, that he couldn't help. This man got the baby drinking on a 40-ounce. At this age, you're probably doing like 2, 4 ounces and all that. Got the baby drinking on a 40. What if the milk was coming out too fast and she choked on it? He wasn't even paying her any attention to even be able to see how she was handling all that milk. Like the laziness. Like how long does it really take for you to feed a baby? Like that game is going anywhere. Some of these men are not mature enough. When you realize on a first child that he can't be mature enough to help you with the child or be responsible with the child, do not make a man like this a father again. Like this is your opportunity. This is your fork in the road. You can say, I didn't know until I had the child. But once you have the one child, that's your sample right there. That's where you can kind of gauge what kind of father he's going to be. You don't just keep popping out the kids for the man and watching him not help and think all of a sudden miraculously he's going to all of a sudden be like, you know what? I'm going to step up. I'm going to put an S on my chest. I'm Superman now. Like, no, he's not going to do that. And these are the kind of men that want to be leaders. They want to be king. They want to feel like they're in control of something. You can't even be disciplined enough to put the joystick down and pick a bottle up. He's barely been a father for a couple of months and he's already ready to whip out the weaponized incompetence card. I didn't know. Man, you're making a big deal out of nothing. He's already ready to play that card. He's already acting like, I don't know what to do when it comes to babies. Learn like she is.
Women are standing on business. Women are not asking the right question. Not just can he provide, but how does he treat me? Does he bring peace or confusion? Is he emotionally available? Is he consistent? These questions shift the focus away from external rules and towards internal qualities. And internal qualities requires self-awareness. For men who were never taught to develop those qualities or never had to rely on them, this can feel like an unfair standard. It can feel like nothing I do is ever enough. Like the goalpost keeps moving. But the goalpost hasn't moved randomly. It has shifted in response to freedom.
My husband used to say, nothing I ever do is good enough for you. And when he would say this would stop me dead in my tracks until I started to recognize it for what it was. This is a way that a lot of men will avoid accountability. A lot of men walk around, they have very low self-esteem. This is typical in our society. And when we bring something up, it typically lands on their shame. And to avoid the shame, they try to twist it. They try to avoid accountability any way that they can. So suddenly now we're having a conversation about, am I asking too much? Did I say something wrong? They twist it back on our tone. They try to get us to take off on a whole different conversation so that they can avoid accountability altogether. If you continue to play a role in that pattern continuing, you'll follow that conversation right down that rabbit hole. Well, let's just say your husband handled laundry for a day and he put the clothes away in all of the wrong rooms or the wrong drawers. And you just say, hey babe, next time you do laundry, would you mind getting the clothes in the right places? And he flips around and he's like, oh my gosh, nothing I do is ever good enough for you. Maybe he sighs, maybe he huffs and puffs, and now he's all upset. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, did I say something wrong? Did I ask for too much? Like, what's the problem here? Or you go back to your old pattern, which is like, you know what? I'm not even going to ask him to do this again because I am tired of dealing with this. And then the whole pattern stays the exact same. Here is the shift. The next time he tries to flip it back on you, the next time he tries to make it about your tone, you do not follow that conversation.
Y'all ever been with someone and they ask you to do something and as soon as you do it, it's not enough. This was an issue. You should have done this instead. I just learned about this theory called the moving goalpost theory, and everything that I just explained makes a lot of sense. When you're going out with someone and they have this characteristic, everything you do will never be enough. They'll ask for flowers, you give them flowers, and then, you know what, where's the chocolate? Nothing is ever enough. And that's a super unfortunate position to be in on the butt end of it. And I don't really know the way to get out of it besides leaving the person. Obviously, you don't want to just leave someone. You want to work through it. You want to make things work. But eventually, it's going to get to a point where, you know, nothing's enough. Everything's going to turn into an argument. And you can't have a relationship or a friendship with someone that's like this. This isn't just meant for people that are dating. I've had plenty of people in my life that are friends. And, you know, you want to be the best friend possible. The things that you do will just never be enough for them. And quite honestly, you should be with someone relationship-wise and friendship-wise that's going to appreciate the things that you do regardless of the circumstances. And you can't just sit there hoping that they're going to change because they have to fix it on their own. They have their own issues and it's not your job to fix it. That's all I got.
When someone has options, their standards become clearer. It's not necessarily higher in unrealistic way, but more specific, more intentional. And that's where some of the frustration comes from. It's not just that women are independent. It's that independence removes tolerance for things that used to be accepted. Inconsistency, emotional unavailability, lack of effort feels more obvious. This is so because there is no longer reason to endure it. This does not mean that all women are perfect or that all expectations are fair. There are extremes on both sides, both the side of men and the side of women. But the shift we are talking about is undeniable. Men are reacting differently to the shift. Some men lean more towards growth, develop emotional intelligence, become better at communication. They become more intentional about how they show up. These are the type of men not threatened by independent women. They find them attractive because independence means relationship is based on genuine desire.
So I want to read this definition to you, and this is for men, because I think one of the things we have on this platform of social media is that we don't encourage men for growth. But I want to read to you the definition of emotional intelligence, and I want you to hear me out when I say this. It says the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in a positive way, to release stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and defuse conflict. So when someone says to you as a man that I want you to have emotional intelligence, when women say to you as a man they want you to have emotional intelligence, let's look at what they're asking you to become. They want you to be a man who is positive. That means you find ways to release your stress, that you're not overwhelmed, you're not angry, you're not bitter, you're not frustrating, you're not saying things like, you just don't respect me. But you're actually empathizing with her frustration. That means as a man, you want to first seek to understand, then to be understood. You want to be able to hear somebody's heart and have control of your emotions where you're not lashing out and being defensive. The second thing you want to do is you want to effectively communicate. You want to be able to articulate how you feel, even when they're treating you wrong, and how frustrated you are. Because one thing that a good woman will love about you, and I mean a good one, not a bad one, a good one will see that you have put in the work to know your own emotions and your own frustrations in order to how to articulate it to her the best way you can so that you can be healed and the relationship can be whole. And then number 3, I think this is very important, that you know how to empathize and overcome challenges and diffuse conflict. I put that all together because one of the biggest challenges that I find with us as men is we want our anger, our rage, our strength to be our strong suit, but it really isn't. Our strong suit is that we use that strength in a proper way. Whenever my lady is weak, I am strong. Whenever my children are weak, I am strong. Whenever my lady is frustrated and she's lashing out to me, I am strong enough to stay calm and diffuse the situation because my love for her outweighs her anger. I didn't say habitual sin or habitual meanness or habitual that, because you do have to correct that. But I mean, at the moment when you are overwhelmed with the way that she is talking to you, you have the strength and the wisdom as a man to know how to navigate that emotion. I still love you even though you're lashing out. I still love you even though you're frustrating me. I still love you even though you don't treat me the way that I need to. And then if we need to move on from one another, we'll figure that out. But if we need to stay, we're going to work it out. That's emotional intelligence. That's the goal every man should have. And especially in the African American community, we need to ask God to teach us as men to have that emotional intelligence, not just for ourselves, but for the future generation of men to come. I believe in you. I pray you do so with me.
Did you know like talking was gonna like solve your problems instead of being
because
defensive?
communication is the number one thing, and the communication was the number one thing I didn't have growing up.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like when she would offer up like to talk and have these conversations and I would run, I recognized that I've been running for so long and we're still having the same problem. So I took the leap like F it, man. I'm just gonna try to talk, and I would mess up.
Yeah.
I would swear. I would raise my voice. I would walk away when she wanted to talk, but I kept going back. Kept doing it over. It's like football, dog. You just do the rep over and over and over. And the more that she saw me try, the more grace she gave me, which gave me more drive to want to go talk. And over a while, I learned the skill. I'm like, damn, I can talk. I can articulate how I'm feeling. Oh, I'm actually not mad. I'm actually just like frustrated. Oh, I'm actually not frustrated. I'm actually just hurt. Oh, I'm actually not hurt. I actually just like kind of miss you, and I feel like you don't know that I miss you. You know what I'm saying?
I feel exactly like that. Yeah.
We just heard from men that are willing to make effort, but other men respond with resistance. They question women's independence, criticize modern relationships. They frame independence as a problem rather than reality. You hear them make statements like women are too independent, modern women are difficult, they are sassy, they are stubborn.
Women that are independent don't give a shit what you say. They be disobedient as hell. It's like, okay, I know you don't need me. I got that. But can you listen just a little bit? Sometimes? Let me have my moment.
Stop being an independent woman around men. I need you to listen. You can be an independent woman around everybody else at work, your kid's school, running your business. But the number one turnoff of most masculine men is a masculine, independent woman. So just turn it off. I know you can open the door for yourself, but let him do it. I know you can pay for dinner, but let him do it. Am I suggesting that you act like you can't do anything in his presence? Yeah, that's about right. A man feels more masculine when he's helping you, taking care of you. So get out of his way and let him. Hit follow for more.
Here's when I shut down arguments. People go, man, you give like the modern day woman so much shit, Zherka. I go, you know what's funny is all of our moms, all 30 of us in the studio, all of our moms would agree the modern day woman is like actually a demon. I know why the world's going to shit. Whether you have $5, 1 million, 30 million, your wife ain't a virgin. That is traumatizing. You think that's important? I can date a non-virgin and stuff like that. I'm just saying it is kind of weird how that option doesn't exist no matter how successful you are. Isn't that kind of like women are getting everything on earth? We're getting nothing?
When women are masculine, you can forget about being with a masculine man because we're going to look the other way. We do not want masculine women. No, we don't care if you got the bag, or we don't care if you're bossed up. Men don't care about your money. We don't care how much money you have. We don't care how much status you have. All we care about is the traditional attributes that come with femininity.
These statements are not always about women. Often they are expressions of discomfort with change, because independence changes leverage. When a woman needs a man, he holds a certain level of control, whether he uses it or not. When she doesn't need him, that leverage disappears. The relationship becomes more balanced, and balance requires engagement. You can't rely on obligation. You have to rely on consistency. You can't rely on being the only option. You have to be the preferred one. You know what? Being preferred requires effort that goes beyond the basics. And this is where modern relationship conflicts are rooted. They are obviously not rooted in lack of desire for connection, because so many people out there want to get connected, they desire connection. The problem is with the mixed match between expectation and reality. Some men are still operating from the old framework, expecting automatic value based on traditional rules, while some women are operating from the new framework, evaluating men based on emotional and relational experience. The bitter truth here is this: relationships are no longer built on necessity, they are built on choice. And choice raises the standard. I'm not all about material stuff, not raising standards based on material things, but relational. Both parties are expected to show up fully, not just functionally. For men, this obviously means redefining what value looks and means to them. It means moving beyond the idea that providing is enough and having the understanding that emotional presence, consistency, and character matter just as much, if not more. So I went over to Reddit to see if this conversation is actually a thing on Reddit. I was like, are people really having this conversation on other platforms, or is it just on TikTok alone? Here are my findings. Let's have a look at what people have to say about this topic on Reddit. Why are men so angry that women are opting out of dating and relationships? I commented on a post 6 months ago about a delusion calculator, which determines how close you are to becoming an aspiring cat lady and how many men meet your criteria. The man who created this calculator is a fan of Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit. If you don't know who those people are, they are the forefathers. Just joking. They are the ones spearheading the toxic masculinity conversation, the toxic alpha male. Do they have good alpha males? Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. All those red pillars. Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, they are the ones on the front row. The number of men who continue to come and reply to my comment months later is alarming. How dare I cite that women are opting out, that men benefit from marriage, not women? I have been called a misandrist. This is just the new hysterical. I must have picked horrible partners. How clever and original. And the latest was that he hoped I was slapped out of my delusion before it was too late. Newsflash, it is too late. I have seen what is out there, and 99% of the men are not worth my time. Men will bully and harass women, but refuse to do any internal work to be a good partner. Men offer a fraction as partners that women offer. The propaganda no longer works on me, men. I hear your screams from the nursing home, and I'm not coming. I'm not afraid of my singleness. You can bully and harass me all you want, but the peacefulness and joyfulness of my life means someone has to make my life better. Never was. Just exactly who is delusional. This is a rant. According to her, we heard her story. She made a post. Men were not happy with the fact that she said marriage benefits men more than women. Men came at her. They called her names. They had the meanest things to say to her. This is on that post. How common are men who are turned off by well-off and independent women? They are more than you think. You can find a handful of them on TikTok. This is so embarrassing. I made a throwaway account because I need some external opinions and viewpoints, but I absolutely do not want this whining and confusion in my main account. But to make a long story short, I have a pretty shitty and empty dating life. And this afternoon, I just broke down with a couple of friends, asking why no guy wants me. Without missing a beat, one of the male friends says, it's because you're successful. A debate started up between the group where the guys all kind of agreed on that point. Me and my other girls asked what was the problem with being successful and independent woman. And the general consensus from the males in the group was being a pretty independent woman means that at the slightest F up they make, I can pack my things up and leave. They felt that in order to keep someone like me, they would have to spend the entire relationship walking on eggshells. And the moment they let their guards down and make mistake, I could just go. And they couldn't invest emotionally in someone that wouldn't be more locked down. Quite interesting to know. I asked for example of an F-up, and one of my friends answered that he felt like I would be very demanding of any boyfriend given that I was a hardworking go-getter myself. So if he came home to me after a hard day of work and just wanted to rest, that I would look down on him for it. two guys made a point of how when we met, they never hit on me because they instantly knew that a relationship with me would be hard work. If I were just pretty, it wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact that I'm pretty and intelligent and high earning means that I can have high standards and they just don't want to deal with meeting those standards. I have to find someone as exceptional as I am, and that's going to be hard, and that's my lot in life, and I have to deal with it. Is this the general viewpoint of guys out there? They say that I was overqualified to be a girlfriend of 90% of men out there, and I never saw myself as such. My response to my loneliness was to think there was something really wrong with me. But here was this group of 4 men saying the problem was that my life was good and I made all the right choices. That's quite interesting to know. And I tell you, this is what a lot of women out there, especially the successful women out there, are facing. Men expect women to take their BS. Men expect us to take whatever they throw at us. But they understand that a woman that is smart, that knows her worth, would not take that. That's why they shame independent women. They don't want to be with independent women. Not because they don't find them attractive or they don't appreciate them, but it's more about those women not being able to take the BS that men usually dish out to women. Here's another post. Why don't men want a strong, independent woman? I am 56, female, great career, have my own house and jeep. No debt, well-traveled, educated, informed. I can bait my own hook, sew a dress, build a shed, grow a garden, fire a gun, cook a mean steak, etc. I have been single for 5 years. I'm attractive. I look 10 years younger than I am. A size 14 dress. 5 feet tall. Kevin Samuels would say this matters. I like to dress up, do my hair and nails as much as I like throwing on a pair of jeans to go camping. Yet, men tell me things like, you're too smart for me, or you're a lot of a woman to handle, or you're intimidating. How can I market that I'm also a family-oriented, optimistic, compassionate woman with a plethora of love to give? Quite interesting. Here's another post. Men of Reddit, how does an independent woman make relationships with you more difficult? This is a good question. So this time around, we're going to hear from men what they have to say about this. The poster went on to say, I'm just curious because I've always heard from men that they want a woman who makes her own money and has her own career. But when she makes more than you and has obligations to her career, does this make things impossible? And how can it be resolved? So this is the first response. Independency is not a problem. Being unable to act like a partner is a problem coming from a man. I think a problem is that many strong independent women feel that they have to give off the I don't need a man attitude, which makes being partners in a relationship difficult. Is that really the case? Yes, treat me like I'm disposable and we'll see why you push every man away. So he's basically saying that independent women treat men like they are disposable. Are you supposed to hold on to a man that has bad character? The duration of a relationship, how long the relationship will last, should be dependent on the characters of the people involved. If you're well behaved, it lasts longer. If you become shitty, the relationship is moving close to the door. That's it. You cannot hold on to a relationship when a man is treating you badly. Like, does it make sense? If you don't want to be broken up with, if you don't want to be disposable, then bring your best foot forward. And you have to continuously bring your best foot forward. You cannot bring your best foot forward today and then go back to your old ways tomorrow for 1 week. And after 1 week, you're bringing your best foot forward for just 1 day. That isn't going to help the relationship. This one says, to add to this, my experience with women who are independent, good paying job, career, multiple hobbies, activities, outside interests, is the tendency to treat their partner like they are disposable, replaceable, unimportant. For instance, my ex only ever called, texted, answered me when it was convenient for her. She only agreed to do things that were to her liking and would throw a fit the one time in our 8-year relationship that we saw a movie she didn't want to see. She only supported me me in things when she would benefit from it. She was good at playing you your game. This is the game men play. A lot of men don't do things that don't benefit them. They are selfish and they don't like it when they meet their match. And she abandoned me whenever I needed any form of support. So much so that towards the end of our relationship, I was scared to mention anything even mildly negative about my day because I knew she'd just mentally check out or hang up the phone. I was there for her when her dog died, when her mom had stroke, and when her dad was hospitalized. But she couldn't even listen to me vent about a bad day when I was stressed out having been laid off, relocated to a new city where I didn't know anyone, and had to deal with multiple home repair expenses with no income coming in. In fact, she flat out told me, "You're not fun to talk to when you're depressed," and tried to make me feel bad for feeling bad by trying to convince me I had no right to be feeling down since she's still calling me every now and then. This is his own experience. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Are you a successful woman? Do you consider yourself to be an independent woman? What has your experience with men been like? Do you have men rejecting you? Do you have men talking down on you? Do you have men attacking you just because they think you are independent and you can fend for yourself? Feel free to share your experience with us in the comment section, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.